process flows hold some very useful information inside of the Dynamics 365 system. The screen clip here is just of a lead and what you would see as part of the business process flow. I'm showing the new unified interface here in Dynamics 365. If you and your organization is still on the older interface, this would look like a green sort of chevron-shaped bar or a progress bar like a loading screen. But really it comes down to being an at-a-glance view of the status of the process or status of a lead in your sales process or the status of an opportunity, for example. You can see quite quickly how long this lead has been in each of this particular stages here: qualify, develop, propose, and close. As this lead transforms from a lead to a qualified opportunity, again, it'll follow along this same process, and you can see how long the opportunity is sitting at each stage in that funnel. And you can see quite easily what's coming next. You can see each of the different steps. We'll get into that in just a moment. And the bonus here is that it's available in all of the interfaces across the Dynamics 365 app. So if you are a mobile phone user or a tablet user, rest assured that you won't miss out on this feature. So the business process flow has a few different components, and I've done my best here to make a graphical representation of a business process flow. And there's really four key components. There are stages, and those are the major accomplishments or milestones that you'll have in your process, the sales process, for example. Inside of stages, we have steps, and steps will relate to Dynamics 365 fields, and we'll demonstrate that in just a moment. Then we have branches. We have the option for branches, and those are really non-linear processes. If you have if-then type of statement, or you want to branch your business process flow based on some information collected in a previous stage or previous steps, that's certainly doable here. So in my graphic, you can see at stage A, at the completion of those three steps, we can either go to stage B or stage B2. And again, pretty straightforward. Adding a branch just gives us a little bit more flexibility to how we can use the business process flow. And then lastly, there are workflows, and those are the behind the scenes workflows that are part of Dynamics 365, and those can be triggered from the start or the end of a stage. So over on the right hand side of my graphic here, I have a lightning bolt down to workflow. So for example, if we entered stage C and completed steps 1, 2, 3 and marked stage C as complete, Dynamics 365 automatically in the background could trigger a workflow. Now let me give you a good example of something where you could make that work. If you had wanted to complete a particular business process flow for a trade show and send a prospective lead or prospective client a postcard in the mail, and all of that mailing activity was handled by an administration employee, we could kick off a workflow at the end of stage 3 where a salesperson or marketing person may enter some information. The workflow would automatically email the contact information of the addressee for the postcard out to your administrative employee. So just a random example, but you can see the power here of business process flows and breaking up your sales or marketing process into different stages. This is certainly good for customer service as well. If you do want to standardize or bring in a scripted approach to different customer service issues that you may face, perfect opportunity here to use business process flows. So certainly lots to think about as we discuss the business process flows. I don't want to spend a lot of time here in PowerPoint and with graphics. Let's just jump right into our Dynamics 365 environment, and I will give you a live demonstration of the business process flows feature. Okay, so here we are in Dynamics 365 in the web interface in the Chrome browser. I've gone straight ahead and opened the leads entity, and we can see I have one open lead here for my particular sample user. Let's go ahead and open that lead, and we're going to see straight away the business process flow right up at the top here. It takes a minute or two to load in the interface, but we can see this is one of the out-of-the-box samples. This is the lead to opportunity sales process, and we can see the different stages here. We have a qualify, develop, propose, and close stage. We can see that the latter three are all locked. We can't enter any information or complete any steps in those three stages until we complete the qualify section here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on qualify. And we can see here are all our certain steps. So is this lead an existing contact? Do they belong to an existing account? Have we nailed down their purchase time frame, their budget, and their purchase process? So if you've joined us for any previous webinar Wednesdays where we've discussed Dynamics 365 and leads and opportunities, you'll know that I do sort of lean heavily on this process for keeping your sales process in check and making sure your CRM data is collected sort of in a uniform or standardized method. So building upon that today, we're going to actually go in and customize some of the steps and stages here just to show you the flexibility of business process flows. So for example, if we had an existing contact, we could enter them in. We could look that up in our existing contact database here in D365. We may know that this is a committee. We may know who the decision maker is. We can fill out as many or as few of these steps as possible. And what you'll see in a minute when we go into look under the hood is we can actually make these mandatory, where you can restrict a salesperson or a marketing or customer service rep from continuing to a further stage before they complete your required steps. So again, we do see a status indicator, sort of a counter timer, how long this lead has been sitting in this particular stage. We've sort of moved on this. It's been in the qualifying stage for 1 hour, and the lead has been active for 15 days. Now let's go ahead and move this to the next stage. And this is going to give us actually the opportunity here. Do we want to make a new opportunity, or do we just want to qualify the lead? So let's go ahead and create a new opportunity out of this lead. And we get our quick create opportunity here. And we're just going to change this maybe to and again, we can fill out as much or as little information as we have. And this lead now will be saved as an opportunity. So now we are in the opportunity entity. You can see the lead has switched over to an opportunity with the title that we gave it. And back to our business process flow here along the ribbon, we can see that the qualifying stage is now done. And now we're on to the develop stage, and we've been here for less than a minute. We can expand that and we can see the steps. So now we're in the develop phase. This might be the point where we really define our customers' needs. We come up internally with our proposed solution. We identify stakeholders and competitors. We can mark these as complete. Proposed solution and customer need will actually fill those appropriate fields here in the D365 record. So again, all of these steps are tied to a record somewhere in the record in the account. We can move to propose. We will, just to show you here the steps again. Active for less than 1 minute. We can pop this out over on the left, or sorry, on the right hand side if we want to sort of make that stick. We can close out of there. And again, we can complete as many or as few as we want. None of them are marked mandatory in the out-of-the-box solution. And then we can finish, and we can actually go ahead and close this opportunity. It might be close as won or a close as lost. We have that functionality right in the business process flow. So pretty slick. Again, I hope this gets you thinking on how you can standardize your sales, marketing, customer service processes, anything that you'd handle in CRM if you want your users to standardize on a particular sequence of events or process or steps. That is certainly can be accomplished with business process flows. Okay, so let's pop the hood now on these business process flows just to see what they look like. If you are a system administrator, system customizer, or have appropriate security permissions where you can get into your system advanced settings, that's what you'll want to do. And the business process flows here are handled under the Process Center in the Processes menu item. When that loads up, that'll load up your business process flows, but you can filter here with views for all of the out-of-the-box scenarios that come with Dynamics 365. And what I find helpful is to sort by your primary entity. This will show you all of the business process flows that relate to a particular entity. And you can see here that we have multiple business process flows that can relate to one entity. Now, you can have about 10 or so. Custom business process flows per entity. You can have multiple flows assigned to an entity. You can use security groups as well as business units to sort of carve out different security permissions for different groups may use a different business process flow than others. Different territory sales reps may use different processes than others, for example. So quite creative you can get along the lines of security. So down in the lead here, we can see the lead to opportunity sales process. That's the one that we just worked on. And now Microsoft's kind of made it out of the box as far as the qualify, develop, propose, and close as our different stages. Now we can see a couple of things here, sort of graphically representation. We have the number 7 that shows of our steps. If we had any workflows in this stage, it would show the sort of dashed line refresh symbol here. So let's go ahead and expand this so we can see our 7 steps in the first qualify section. Is this an existing contact? Is this an existing account? Do we know the purchasing time frame, budget, purchase process? Do we know the decision maker? And have we captured a summary? So on the simple side of things, let's go ahead and change some of our 7 steps. Let's say that we really don't want to know if this is an existing account or not. We can click on that step and we can delete it right out here, and we'll confirm that. And now we're down to 6 steps. And let's go ahead and make identify decision maker. Let's go ahead and make that a required step now. So now our salespeople will really have to work hard to ensure they know who is going to sign the check when we make a sale. Now there's a lot of power here, again, under the hood behind business process flows. I just want to give you a 101 level look at these. Certainly you can contact a Dynamics 365 customization partner like Profit Business Group if you do want to get a little bit more hands-on with the customization process here behind your business process flows. So let's try one more thing here. Let's go to the add menu and let's add a condition. And we're going to add it between the qualify and develop stage, and we are going to set our new condition. Let's say our country equals a value of Canada. And we're going to apply that. And so if that condition is met, we're going to keep on going with the develop and propose and close sections. But now we can add another stage. If it does not meet that condition, what do we want to do? So we may have a different sales strategy based on territory or region, perhaps based on the product that we've identified in the lead. So a good example could be potentially a car dealership. If you have a lead that's interested in a new vehicle, you may run them through a different sales process than a lead that's potentially showing some interest in a used vehicle, for example. So sky is really the limit. Your imagination as well can really be set free here with business process flows. But here's an example of the branch where we set a condition. If it's met, we continue on down the process, and if it is not met, we continue on down an alternate path. Okay, I'll just show you now adding workflows really quickly to a business process flow. Here on the right hand side, we have this composition panel and all the different components that we have in our business process flows available to us. I've shown you the add menu here in the ribbon, but it's as easy as dragging whichever component you want into the business process flow. For example, I'll take workflow and drop it into the qualify stage here. And you can see down at the bottom now that we have a triggered process available to us. So we can go ahead and give that a display name. We set what entity it's tied to. Again, we have 2 triggers available. Do we want this workflow to begin when we enter this stage or when we exit the stage? Sort of click all the steps off and move to this new stage, for example. And your workflows can be pre-built, existing in Dynamics 365. You can search them here in this text field, or if you want to create something new, you can just go ahead and click the new button and move on from there. So my early example was if you had wanted to send a postcard to someone based on a trade show visit and send that out to an administrative employee to tackle the postage and the mailing and so on. You can pre-build that workflow or go ahead and build it from here. So we won't do that today, just in the savings of time, and we'll move on to the next topic here and sort of create a new customized business process flow. Okay, so we're back in the business process flows list here under the processes menu in settings. I'm going to go ahead and make a new process record, and we're going to call this trade show sale flow, for example, and we are going to categorize this as a business process flow, and we are going to assign this to our lead entity. A couple different settings here. We can run process as a business flow classic or run process as a task flow. For now, just use the business flow classic option. We're going to do a future webinar on the task flow unified interface only. That's really cool if you're on the go and you want to have quick actions from, say, the mobile app, or quick actions from a post-meeting follow-up or other automated task flows that run behind the scenes. So again, stay tuned in a few months for more on that. But for today's purposes, let's just use the classic business flow. So after a few seconds here, we're back into the Power Apps canvas for the trade show floor business process flow, and it's already gone ahead and added us a new stage. So we'll click onto that new stage, and let's label this as qualify. We can give it a category, and we're going to hit apply. And let's go ahead now back to components, and let's add a data step. So now here we have a couple of steps that we can work with. Let's say we can make this a required field. For example, we can set the sequence here if we don't want to drag and drop, if we have a whole bunch of steps that we want to reorder and resequence. Let's hit apply there. And let's think of another new step here. And we'll make this a required field as well. Okay, so this is, again, just a real basic overview of the power here behind the business process flows, but you can see how easy it is just to bring in your stages, apply your conditions, for example, and have all of the different workflows that we might want to. We can add those really at any point in time, in any of the stages, at any of the steps. It's very easy to add steps to a stage. Again, you might want to go and drag these all in first before you go and do all the work of entering all the data. Over here on the bottom left is a mini map. This is kind of an easy way if your business process flow gets really large, very wide, or very tall based on the steps and branches that you create. This is an easy way to just sort of motor around and see all of your different graphical stages here in the representation. Now, once you are done, once you're satisfied with what you've done, you have the options up here in the top action bar to save. There is a validate button, so if you're used to working in the Power Apps Designer, this will go ahead and check what you've done. You'll want to activate your business process flow. If you want to order this business process flow in your entity, perhaps a little bit differently, once the screen loads, I will show you what that means. If you want this new business process flow to be the default instead of the out-of-the-box business process flow, this is the section here where you would set that. So for example, here if we wanted our trade show sales flow to be the top process flow when we create a new lead and we want that to show up first, we would just reorder these here in sort of a matter of priority, if you will. So I just want to jump back into D365 here in the main lead record screen for Amy Alberts, just to give you an example. Now, you can have multiple business process flows going on a lead or an opportunity or contact at any point in time. If you want to switch a particular business flow to another one, that's up here in the ribbon under the process button, and you can select switch process. So for this example, I've lit up a few inside sale process business process flows here just to give you an example. So we're going to change from the default lead opportunity to sales close. We're going to change this to the inside sales process, and we'll see in just a minute here now that all of our progress has changed. We've got different stages. We have approach, qualify, presentation, refine, and so on from there. So you can see now that that business process flow is completely different with different stages and different steps. Again, steps are pulling from our Dynamics 365 information, sort of our data fields, and as we complete those here, it will add the information back into the record. So again, lots of potential for different business processes for different sales teams, maybe geographically. You may have an inside sales process that's different than your field sales process. You may want to have a business process for very, very hot leads that want to buy really quickly, sort of take out a lot of the administrative steps. Or you want to have a longer sales process for a lead that needs to be nurtured and sort of cared upon for a little bit longer term. So again, lots of different use cases and lots of different potential ideas here for business process flows. All right, that's all I had prepared here for my demonstration. Just a quick recap of what we've covered. Business process flows can be a very powerful standardization tool within Dynamics 365. Gives you the ability to control the quality of data entered into your CRM as your sales team works, and also guides your sales users through repeatable and customized processes sort of in your sales and service areas. And that could be really good for employee onboarding or bringing on new salespeople or customer service reps that you want to follow a certain procedural flow or a script, if you will. Business process flow also gives you an at-a-glance view of lead or opportunity stages in your sales process. Again, we saw the counter of how many days, hours, minutes, for example, that a lead's been in a certain stage in a business process flow. We've seen that it is simple to customize and create new business process flows. And I did show you how you can include branches and trigger workflows for advanced procedures. And the great thing is that this is available across the entire interface in Dynamics 365, the variety of apps, and if you're using Dynamics 365 on a tablet or smartphone, you still will have access to business process flows.